As we well know, the Pokemon market is absolutely booming right now with sealed product going through the roof. A lot of single card prices, especially in the illustration rare category, we have seen in the Scarlet and Violet era just reach insane new heights. There's a lot of talks going, is there potential market manipulation, some shady stuff going on? What is happening? Well, right now, the market, well, as far as singles are concerned, are correcting itself. We are seeing a lot of these big, super hyped cards come back down to reality. We saw that in the Sword and Shield era. We had the big OR boom. I believe it was like during the summer. And these cards went just absolutely bonkersly high. And then they came flying down. We saw it in the Sun and Moon era with a lot of the tag team OR cards. They saw insane spikes and then they cooled off and happened in Sword and Shield. And now it's happening in Scarlet and Violet. So today we're looking at just a handful of cards. Not just from Scarlet and Violet, but also some in the Sword and Shield, which have started to cool off a little bit. Is this a sign of the market cooling down? No, I think it's probably going to be more of just a course correction here, but it's interesting to see. So let's jump in. Okay, the first card we got to talk about is the Drowzee. Of course, that was the big hype card. Everyone was like, oh my days, this Drowzee from Scarlet and Violet base is just going absolutely bonkersly high, and it did. We'll see. It went wild. It's kind of interesting because this was a card where people didn't care about it when it was under $10 for like the longest time ever, and it just didn't really see the live day. And then all of a sudden, it's like it was the hyped card. I'm going to show you, and you're going to see. You can see from this chart. Now you can tell me whether or not this is potentially market manipulation or not at its finest. But here we go. This card is $33. Okay, 130% increase over the past 3 months. Very impressive. Very impressive. Right, and as you can see here, these are all the ones that have sold. Okay, so a few. Then we saw this huge spike, right? So about just under 10 at a time. Then we saw this huge spike of a huge amount bought out, and look at the price that went with it. Okay, and it went right up to $65, nearly $70. Everyone's like, "Oh my days, here we go! It's the most expensive card in the set. It's gonna go to new heights. It's going to the moon, baby. It's the next Magikarp." There was so much stuff I saw going around with this card. And then since then, it went up. So it went up by 353%, and now it's 130. It has dropped 240%. No, 220%. It has dropped since its all-time high. And look at the sales after that. Gone back down to normal. Very, very, very sus indeed. I mean, over the past month, it has fallen 47%. If you look at the year chart, this will give you an idea, right? This is natural growth, okay? And again, I would say a little bit of a hype, but still somewhat natural growth. And this is pure insanity. And you can see how much was bought out there. And it shot right up and now it went back down. It's no longer the most expensive card in the set. It's still very impressive this much, but it's so easy to manipulate single cards, especially on a platform like TCG Player. And we've seen it time and time again. I feel like a broken record at this point. But yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. You look at the rest of the market, and we did actually, when this card shot really high, we looked at the rest of the market, eBay and places like that, and it just wasn't matching. You look at other places, not just eBay, but you look at card market in the EU, you looked at the price over here, it just didn't correlate to what was happening on TCG Player. So yeah, a bit of a weird one, that. Okay, on to Obsidian Flames with a Cleffa illustration rare. This one did also see a big boom. Not quite as sus as the Drowzee, but definitely have seen some growth here. So it is still up by 13% from 3 months ago. Seeing at $19, but it was $30. It was 78% and now 13%. Over the past year, you can see it there's high volumes of sales, but it consistently had a decent amount of sales. So for this one, I wouldn't say it's anywhere near as bad. I mean, it already started to go up before we had the odd ones here, the odd little spikes. It already started to make that climb anyway. So this one, not quite as bad. Beautiful card, by the way. I do like this. And Obsidian Flames does actually have some nice cards in it. But a lot of cards are dropping. The Ninetales. We're not going to cover the Ninetales today, but that one has also dropped as well. So a lot of the big illustration rares from a lot of sets have been falling. I just think it's just market correction at this point, which is needed and natural. Next up, we got the Eevee from Twilight Masquerade. This was the second most expensive card in Twilight Masquerade behind the Greninja. But it has fallen out of favor quite heavily, which is quite interesting. So we're looking at a $70 card. It did actually reach 100 or just over 100, as we can see here, back at the beginning of February. And that was kind of with the prismatic boom, you know, the hyper prismatic forced this card to go up, and it forced all evolutions pretty much just across the board, no matter what set, what era, EVs went through the roof. And it has fallen since. It's kind of gone back to where it once was 3 months ago. We go back a year or since the set came out, and it's still doing relatively well. The Perrin has overtaken this now. I think the Perrin's now over $100. The Carmine has gone up as well. It's kind of interesting on that front, but overall, you know, it is doing well, and it's EV, so I kind of expect it to climb back up over time, but it has fallen a fair bit. On to Shroud of Fable, everybody's favorite set. We've got the Persian coming in. Again, another big illustration rate. This one hasn't fallen anywhere near as bad as some of the other ones we just looked at, but it has started to trickle downwards. All-time high here, nearly $80, and we're looking at it in the mid-50s, so it's slowly going down, and it's leveling out. Shroud of Fable, there was, I say, hype. Basically, no one could get hold of any stock for the longest time of anything, and the only thing that was available was Shroud of Fable, so people were buying up Shroud of Fable. Is it a good set? Still think it's poor. I don't think it's anywhere near as good as some of the other sets in the Scarlet and Violet era. However, this is an incredible looking card, and especially with the hype of Team Rocket, I'm surprised this card isn't continuing to climb, or at least stay up near its all-time high. But yeah, over the last 6 months, we did see this huge boom of Persian value go up, and I think also Team Rocket played a part in that as well, right? The whole hype around it. I expected it potentially to go back up, but it'd be interesting to see. Still though, on 140 plus high in a 3-month high, 85%, still very, very good. On to Stellar Crown, we've got the Terrapagos EX, which was the biggest card in the set, but no longer. Squirrel has now overtaken it. Bulbous was en route to overtake it as well. $57. I actually made a video talking about this card when the set came out, and I think it was over $100 at the time. And I remember saying that I believe this card will be, you know, sub $50. And you know, there were people in the comments, and they were like, "There's no way this card is playable. Jace, you don't know what you're on about. There's no way this card's gonna be $50." Now look at it. I mean, it's heading that way quite easily. With a smaller set like Stellar Crown, it is easier to pull this card, even though booster boxes are expensive. It's still relatively easy to, you know, get this card, and that's the thing, right? Easier pull rates, lower values. We've seen it time and time again. $57 over the last 6 months. This thing's dropped by 45%. Since its release, it has fallen quite heavily, and I do expect it to continue to fall and potentially be under that $50 range eventually, but it's getting there. Nice card though, I do like it, but yeah, I think easier pull rates will affect this card. Surgeon Sporks coming in. Pikachu's doing really well, it's like holding quite well. The Latias holding quite well. Milotic's doing pretty well. Hydreigon though, not so much. So this one is a nice art. It has dropped 34% from the release. Pull rate of Surgeon Sparks is very tough. Big set. Pretty expensive as well if you want to get hold of Surging Sparks right now, but this one has been falling. A lot of the illustration rares from Surgeon have been going up, and then they've, like, over the past couple of months, and then over the past few weeks, they've actually started to correct as well. So again, we are seeing a little bit of a correction across the board, but this one again has been falling over the past month, dropped around about 10 to 11%, under $80 now. It was high, right? I mean, it was doing very well, over $100 for a while, and then it has dropped. Full card is fallen in value. Then we got the Umbreon from Prismatic. This one's actually finally going down. This one held its insane price tag for a while. Very tough set. I mean, to get pulls, expensive. It's just everything about it. It's just so tough. This is like the Scarlet and Violet era of course, of the Evolving Skies Umbreon. In that value, $1,400 is just mental. Over the past month, it has dropped by 8%. It hasn't been that long. So 3 months, look, we just see this drop. I mean, it's not a huge drop. I mean, it's fallen, 10%, but still dropping like nearly $200. That's a lot. That's a lot of money. So would I, like, it all depends on reprints. If Pokemon print the living daylights out of Prismatic, which a lot of people are hoping they will, then this card will see a drop. We saw it with the Umbreon from Evolving. When they kept printing Evolving, it kept falling. But the strength of the card and the tough pull rates carried that card to where it is now. And I think this will be the same. I really do. I think this one will hold relatively high in the future. Okay, on to Sword and Shield. We're going to look at the Giratina. This one has fallen just a little bit. Not a huge amount, but it's still doing relatively well. $620. We're looking at $700. So it's dropped by about $80, $90 in the past month or so, which is, you know, a reasonably big chunk drop, to be fair. Still very, very expensive for this card. I mean, over the past year, we're looking at 105% increase, which is just fantastic. And then over this year in 2025 alone, it's already gained 15% already, even though it has dropped. It did actually go up by 33%. Big card, Lost Origin, really expensive, tough card to pull. Is a Holy Grail item, I think, to be fair, the Giratina. Speaking of another Holy Grail item, we have the Gengar coming in from Fusion. This one has dropped as well, just a little bit. We're looking at, you know, was $750. Now you're looking at roughly around nearly $650. So again, $100 drop from its all-time high. We go back over the past year though, still doing incredibly well. But it's just slowly dipping down a little bit with less sales. Shifting this card as well over the past month, we have seen a drop. I mean, so far this year in 2025, it has gone up by 23%. It did actually go up by 40%. Fusion Strike, I mean, it's getting really expensive, insanely tough to get this one. Keep that in mind, that things, even big cards like this, are cooling off. There you have it, guys. That's what's been going on with the single cards. A lot of stuff is going down in price, some of them falling faster than others. Keep an eye out, right? When sealed product is super expensive and tough to get hold of, people turn to single cards to complete their master sets, to get in their collections, or to even send off to get graded. Right now, we are in a situation where getting single cards looks really appealing. I mean, I've been looking at picking up some cards from certain sets, which I want in my collections. I've actually been going out and picking up a whole bunch of illustration rares for my collection. I'm trying to get one of every single illustration rare in the Scarlet and Violet era. Very difficult to get hold of at the moment. Still don't have like Magikarp and stuff. But I'm getting there. But yeah, so right now, a lot of them are correcting. Some suspicious stuff had been going on, especially with the Drowzee, but a lot of the other stuff is natural. A lot of natural, you know, growth. And not only that, it's now correcting itself. I'm not calling it a crash or anything like that. It just feels like the market is slowly correcting in single cards anyway. We're just waiting for the sealed product to go the same way. I think with sealed product, there's two factors. One, a lot of packs are getting ripped. So a lot of single cards are here in the market. That's why we're seeing these prices fall. And two, is with the sealed product, is it just needs printed more. If it gets printed more, then we'll start to see sealed product fall. And if that is the case, you're going to start seeing the single cards fall even more in that cycle. So we'll see how things go. The summer months are usually quite interesting when it comes to the Pokemon market, because things tend to go down, but we'll see what happens. If it's fun the video and you've enjoyed it, make sure to smash the like button, make sure to subscribe for more Pokemon content. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments about this little bit of market correction when it comes to the single cards. Do you think it will stay? Do you think more cards will go down in value? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. But that is it from me, guys, in today's video. If you want more Pokemon content, make sure to click the video on the screen. And of course, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You guys are legends, and I'll see you in the next one.